EJ Boxing Live here with James Ali Bashir. This is the aftermath of Wladimir Klitschko versus Tyson Fury. Here we're going to hear what Mr. James Ali Bashir has to say. And yeah, that's it, man. So, Mr. Bashir, you give the people your take on what went on, the whole with the ring mat, the just the whole experience of what went down and where your camp went wrong.
As far as the ring mat is concerned, I guess that's what the champion wanted, and the Fury camp didn't go for it. So, having said that, there's nothing anybody can do about that. Except the fact that Tyson and the rest of his team said they wasn't fighting in it, and that was it, as far as I'm concerned.
You see the ring mat is with Wladimir, is you don't know about that stuff with the mat, how cushioned it was before. You don't know nothing about that. That's the first you ever heard about it?
No, it's not the first I ever heard about it.
Oh, okay. Well, he's the champ, and obviously, that's the part of the negotiations, and obviously we want the ring mat.
Well, the champion didn't have much to do with it. It was just a plan that I, along with some other members of the camp, decided that we would do. We would put the foam in there. It was a legal foam, but it was up to Tyson Fury camp to accept it or not accept it, and they didn't. So we move on. We tried something.
Why would you need how would that benefit your champ? How would that benefit?
Well, Tyson is a big guy, and I figured if we put that foam in there, it would cause him to tire quickly because it was a very thick ring. So, I figured that we had that thing that he wouldn't be as fast. So I figured that we had the thick canvas. It was a slow ring, and they removed it. So I don't have no problems with that. We tried one of the tricks of boxing. It didn't work, so we move on.
How many times have you tried that? that little tactic.
I've tried it in the past. I've been doing this for 46 years, so I've tried it in the past on numerous occasions. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
Wow. Do you reckon on the Pulev fight, was it in the Pulev fight as well?
No.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So with so it was that, and it was so in the weigh-in. What over here in the UK we've been talking about is basically the height of Wladimir. They were basically, so was he wearing platforms to be taller, Wladimir?
No.
But in the ring, you could see a disparity on the height. So how come Wladimir looked the same height in when they had the weigh-in? Do you know about that or?
No, he had on his regular gym shoes.
Okay. Because he looked noticeably smaller in the ring in terms of height.
Well, I think because he was crouching a little bit, that made him look smaller. With his legs wider, when your legs are wider and you're crouching, it's going to make you look smaller.
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah, because over here in the UK, with the pointing out that so you see the highlights. You see with the Wladimir headbutt on Tyson Fury in the fight. You see that?
Well, I responded to one of those articles. Referring to that, they both were doing dirty things in there.
Yeah.
And Tyson headbutted Wladimir before Wladimir headbutted him.
Okay.
But it all comes with a fight. I think some of it was intentional, some of it was unintentional. I don't like those kind of fights. I think let's keep it clean and let both guys come in and go out in good health. Where somebody is implementing a headbutt or something, or an elbow or something that's going to injure the other guy and ruin his career, ruin his life. I don't like that. But they both were guilty of breaking the rules.
Okay, so let's get into it then. The strategy. What was the Wladimir strategy? Because remember you said we were talking. You've got some little hidden things secrets that we're not gonna expose. Can you elaborate on what you was talking about now?
My opinion, Wladimir never executed on the plans that we had. He just didn't execute. Nobody can say what happens when a boxer go up those stairs. And in my mind, and from where I was sitting at, he never executed. He just never executed the plans. Either he couldn't or wouldn't. I don't know what was wrong. I haven't spoken to him yet in depth. I spoke to him a little bit in his room after the fight, but I didn't want to bring the fight up at that time because I didn't think it was appropriate. I think that he was just, sitting back, taking in what had happened. And I just felt that the timing wasn't right for me to say anything about it, so I didn't.
So, can you tell us what things you had in store for Tyson, the little plans, or what did you?
Well, my thing was that have him cut the ring, not follow Mike Tyson. Mm-hmm. Cut the ring and fight. You can't box a guy like Tyson. He's 28 years old. He's a big, young, strong guy. You just can't take that kind of approach to boxing a young guy. Wladimir 39, Tyson's 28. So you got to cut the ring and make Tyson do things that he does not want to do. Make him do things that he's uncomfortable with doing. Fight him. There's no big secret about that. You got to fight him. Older guys got to fight, and you got to fight those young guys. You can't get in there. Ella, Larry Holmes, Carl Williams, Larry Holmes, Tim Witherspoon. Larry had to fight those guys, and they both were close fights. Larry sealed the deal and kept the title within the last 2 or 3 rounds. He kept the title based on what he did in the last 2 or 3 rounds. Those were close fights. So Wladimir is a good guy when it comes to training. He trains really hard. He's always in good shape. And the plan was to cut the ring off and make Tyson fight. And it's no big secret. And if they rematch, I'll tell them to do the same thing again. Cut the ring off and fight. You gotta take punches to give punches.
So why wasn't he responding to the information? Did you feel like Father Times caught up with him? And because in the corner, even his brother was in the corner. A lot of people was feeling that you should have been in there talking in his ear, like maybe doing more receptive to your information. But but remember we was talking about before earlier about with the Jennings situation where if you was in a corner, you would have tell him to go in there and finish the dude. So maybe it's a backlog of coming into this fight. It's the same thing.
Listen. I've been as assistant trainer for 12, 13 years. I think that I have as much input with him as Jonathan Banks does. In fact, I trained Jonathan Banks as a young man. He was a young man, 15, 16 years old when I met him. Mm-hmm. I trained him for 3 or 4 of his professional fights. And I think that it's a disservice. It's a disservice to not to have the perspective of the older members of that team, which I am the oldest one in that camp.
Yeah.
By far. Mm. So I think it's a disservice to the champion and the brain trust he has around him to exclude me from being there to guide. I mean, Jonathan Banks has been a good fighter, but having said that, he still has a lot to learn as a trainer. Mm. I mean, you just don't walk into the trainership training the heavyweight champion of the world and you didn't have no experience to back you up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm not saying that Jonathan was the fault. What I am saying, though, is that obviously the marriage between the two of these guys is just not producing. Mm-hmm. It's not producing. You know what I'm saying? You can't have a hit and miss. Jonathan's a good trainer, but every trainer can't train every fighter. Mm. And I'm not saying that had I been in the corner that anything would have been different. By all accounts, Jonathan was giving him solid information to some, and then to others, there wasn't solid information. Mm. I haven't sat down and reviewed the tape yet, so I can't say yay or nay concerning that. What I will say is that when Emmanuel Stewart was the trainer, he kept me in the loop concerning every aspect of the fight, leading up to the fight.
Yeah.
In other words, Emmanuel Stewart would contact me in the wee hours of the morning, 2 and 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, that he wasn't sleeping well. He'd call me up and said, what do you think about the guy we fighting? How would you approach it? What would you do in this case? What would you do in that case? Because he valued the information that I could give him as I valued the information that he could give me. Yeah. So we would toss our thoughts around to each other. That was Emmanuel because he was a wise man. And wise men seek wisdom from other wise men. Mm-hmm. That's how you grow. Mm-hmm. Every one of us come into this life and we don't know nothing. Mm. We know how to use Pampers, drink fluids and eat food and make noise. But outside of that, all of our habits, we learn from the people around us.
Yeah.
So Emmanuel Stewart brought me into his camp, the Kronk camp, many, many years ago. And he said, I'm bringing you here because you know boxing. So having said that, you have to have that kind of information available. I would have told him to stop following Tyson around the ring. Stop getting caught up in the hoopla. All this chit-chat and bumping chests and stuff at the end of the round and all of that nonsense. Focus on the task at hand. You know, focus. I don't want to tell you how we're going to fight the rematch. You know, because at some point Tyson and them is going to hear this interview.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. But you know, we're over here in the UK. We're questioning if the rematch is going to happen. You know, we're not too sure. Is it going to happen? We feel it is, and they're talking about Wembley Stadium. So then we're looking. A lot of people, well, the Fury camp. I just heard just a minute ago. Actually, I was just listening to the interview. They're looking to bring it to Wembley. How do you feel about that?
How do I feel about coming to Wembley?
Yeah, Wembley Stadium.
I don't see where we have a lot of choice.
Yeah, well, you the challenger now.
So how we feel is irrelevant now because Tyson Fury is the champion of the world.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
We're just a contender.
Yeah.
So he drops the coin in the jukebox and we got to do the dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can change that now. He's the champion of the world. And however ugly the fight was, because I don't think Tyson did so much. I think it was much that Wladimir didn't do what he was supposed to do. I don't think that Tyson did very much. I think that Wladimir just did very little. It was like Wladimir came to the ring to give the title to Tyson.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, this is the thing. We was talking about, obviously, we talked about the ring apron. We talk about the gloves. You know, he already had his hands wrapped. Did you wrap his hand, or Jonathan Back wrapped his hand before they...
No, Aldo Viteri is the one that wraps the hands. Yeah. And we told them to be in that locker room at a specific time, and they wasn't there, and we went on with our wrap. But we did it in front of a commissioner. Yeah,
this is the thing, but you obviously, that's the thing. This is another thing as well. It seems like they're getting their own way because when they came in, they asked you to take the rap. One of the representatives should be there. So if you, even though you gave them the time, they probably knew that, or maybe they didn't, and they just chose to disregard.
But whose fault is that, though? We gave them the time.
Yeah,
it was for them to have our guy was stationed at the time we were supposed to be.
Yeah, but you still took it off. This is the thing. Like, I know you wrapped it, but then why did you still took it off? Why did you at that point decide to take your wraps off when we were already represented? You know, so this is
because they was, in so many words, they was insinuating that there was something illegal going on.
Exactly. That's what the point is. This is the
mind you, Wladimir had nothing to do with those decisions.
Okay,
it was the people around him.
Yeah,
they decided, hey, let's get on with this fight. Take the wraps off and do it again in front of them.
Yeah, all these things is for the champion. When usually the champion is always in control of everything. He's getting now the challenger's getting his own way. The mat came out, the wraps come off. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like almost to the point.
We wanted to make the fight. Tyson and company threatened to leave if we didn't let the mat down. Okay, let the mat down. Still got to fight.
Okay, yeah, let's get into that. So the situation is about the mat, and I saw Vitali.
It wasn't Vladimir's fault.
No, I know it wasn't. You've pointed that out, but it was discussing with Vitali. It was in the ring. Vitali obviously agreed and said, "Yeah, okay, let's take it out." They agreed to take it out. So so they were failing to cancel. What did you guys think at that point? What was going through? Because they was actually dead on. They were going to leave. So what was the thinking of in the Klitschko camp at that point when they were when the Fury camp was thinking to leave? What was circling around, or you just thought they were bluffing? Or
we felt that we had did a lot of work and people had flown all around the world to be at the fight, and we didn't want to dishearten or let the fans down. So we decided to go through and take the mat out, take the wraps off, whatever we had to do to get the fight in. Because we expected a better fight than what the guys did. Like I said, nobody knows what happens to the fighters once they walk up those stairs. But with Wladimir, I just can't answer any questions as to what happened. I haven't spoken to him in that venue yet, you know. But it was an ugly fight to me. That was a terrible fight.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about the fight itself. 7 punches around landed by Tyson. That's how many punches were through the punch. There was a lot of feinting by Tyson. He actually surprised me with his footwork and his feints. But other than that, he was.
As I said, it wasn't so much of what Tyson was doing; it was what Wladimir wasn't doing to thwart that.
Yeah,
that was so easy to thwart.
So
that was so easy to thwart. That's one of the values of having been in the 50s and 60s and watching the boxers at that time. I was there. I grew up during that time. That's all I did was involve myself in boxing since I was a young child. And I saw the old fights. I saw what they did to break that kind of stuff up. I saw what they did to break up all that herky-jerky and running around the ring and putting your hand back. I saw what they did. There was so many methods that they had in the old days to break that kind of stuff up. And guess what? It'll still work now. It'll work better now than it did then because everybody knew what somebody would do then. But nowadays, the trainers don't know and the boxers don't know what to do to break that kind of stuff up.
So how do you break that up?
How would I break it up?
Yeah.
Watch the next fight and see.
No problem. Okay. All right. So
I don't come on your program to educate the trainers. I'm already educated.
No, I understand.
Listen. I'm already educated. They have yet to be educated. The average trainer in the world don't know boxing. They don't know boxing. The average trainer. You got maybe 8, 9 good guys across the world that knows boxing in depth. In depth. Most of these guys is commercial trainers. They going on stuff they might have read in a book, but they haven't experienced it. They haven't paid their dues to experience. So people will see. In the next fight, if the next fight happens, it's like Wladimir. Does Wladimir want to go on? Hey, I don't know.
Well, in the post-press conference, Vitaly was adamant that, we because the rematch clause is there, but Vitaly wasn't really saying much at the time. I think he was still probably dealing with the fact that, he dominated for a decade. He was close to Joe Lewis's record and he didn't get there. Because obviously, you guys want to go onto Wilder, and in boxing, the what's it, the sun, happened.
Well, he's going to have to change some things about his style and about his psychic. He's in a position now where he doesn't have much of a choice. Either you change those things or you leave boxing. It's that simple.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
He has to change those things in his style or he has to leave boxing. That's all. It's that simple. But he's in a position now where he's not on the throne. He has to make some adjustments here to maintain the championship, to regain the championship, rather. He has to make some adjustments. Okay, what those adjustments is, we can't say yet until we talk to Wladimir. Once we speak to Wladimir, then we'll find out.
Yeah, boy, it was the big one, the biggest upsets over in the UK, and right now, like, everyone's buzzing. Tyson Fury's over here, royalty is, the red carpet's been laid out, or so to speak, for him. Press engagements.
But I left the arena. I wasn't angry. Tyson did what he had to do to win the fight, but it was an ugly fight. Tyson didn't do very much. Wladimir didn't do nothing, and Tyson did very little.
It was entertaining, though. It was very entertaining because the thing is, people didn't give Tyson a hope in hell. That's why, like, even to he went the distance and
I can say if Tyson, oh man, it's just so frustrating. For me, it's very frustrating.
Yeah, well, look, the last round, Wladimir went for it though. He went
available. Tyson was available. He was available to be here. He was available to be encountered, and Wladimir didn't do it. It's that simple. There's no if but ands about it. The champion at that time didn't do what he was supposed to do. It was like the stars had to be lined up for him to execute his punches. He didn't do it.
He definitely did. So we spoke on Wladimir. Tyson's they talk about next rematch, maybe in Germany, in UK. Obviously, a lot of guys are interested in.
My thinking is this.
Yeah.
All right? A champion is a champion all over the world. That's why they call themselves the world champion. Mm. Forget the carpet or where you at. Get in the ring and fight. And worry about the fight, not about where the location is, the geographical location. Well, I don't want to fight him in so-and-so in his hometown. Well, if you worry about his hometown, go in there and knock him out.
That's right.
Train to knock him out. Train to knock him down.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't be concerned about geographical location because you never get nothing done like that.
Absolutely.
You just have to train to overcome the odds. I'll tell you, somebody hitting you on your chin or hitting you in your liver, it don't make a difference if you in Timbuktu. You understand?
Yeah, it's true. It doesn't matter where it is. It's always a hit, same thing. Yeah, I agree with you. 100%. So the thing, Wladimir coming out of it.
Say to you.
Pardon?
Henry Armstrong, the great Henry Armstrong.
Yeah.
The last man to hold 3 titles at one time. The great Henry Armstrong fought for the welterweight championship of the world. And I was a little child when he went through this stuff. Just a young boy, but I was attracted to boxing because my uncles were very attracted to it. So naturally it rubbed off on me. And Armstrong was a little guy, 5'6", 5'7", but he was perpetual motion coming forward. There wasn't a lot of gyrating and fooling around. He came to get the bacon and eggs. I'm coming to get you. He came in, I think that he fought for the welterweight championship of the world, and he weighed in, if I'm not mistaken, at 5'6", 5'7". I think he weighed in at 133 or 134. Mm. For the welterweight championship now. He weighed in at 133, 134, and the champion, if I'm not mistaken, weighed 144, 145. Mm-hmm. You can check the records and find out.
Yeah,
and he went in and won the welterweight championship.
Yeah, but his style is aggressive, come forward fighter, all perpetual emotion is what they dubbed him. But Wladimir's style is like he usually, because he usually bigger than most of his opponents, and he uses his length and his size. But this is the first time he was in an opponent who was actually told him, like when Lennox Lewis fought Vitali, Lennox dogged him. Lennox put his hands up and went in to fight him. And this is where in the last round Wladimir did that. He maybe should have did the early run, and the rounds would have probably been different. And the last round, that people feel that was the most action in the fight actually.
Yeah, I mean, he should have, could have, would have, did have. Who knows? But he should have fought him. Yeah. All that boxing and running around the ring, and and this is something that I've made clear to Wladimir over the years. I don't bite my tongue about nothing. I'm telling the guy the truth. I'm on your team, but you need to do what you need to do to win this fight. I would have told him, you need to do something. You need to do something. I'd have stopped that shit. Excuse me out there, I get carried away here. But I'd have stopped that nonsense in the second round. I said, listen, no. I would have nipped that in the bud right then and there. No. We need to go inside of here and fight this man. Now, we done gave the first 2 rounds away, that's enough. Now we need to fight.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have patted him on the back and make friends with him in the corner. My job is to win this fight and to tell you what you need to make critical decisions on a dime, on a split second. And I can see in the first 2 rounds, I said to one of the cornermen, he needs to stop this now because it's only going to get worse. I felt that the first from 1 to 4 rounds in the Jennings fight and in the Tyson fight, I felt those were the times that he needs to attack. Mm. He needs to attack. In those first 1 to 4, he needs to attack. And certainly by round 5, he should have been bombing. Rolling the dice, I call it. Roll the dice.
Yeah.
What's going to be is going to be. We got to go ahead and find out whether we're going to win or lose, but we need to roll the dice now. We need to beat this horse and ride towards him and start dropping these bombs.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. I think he's the comfort zone.
Wladimir Klitschko is a puncher.
Yeah.
He's a puncher, man. Your job, you got to be reminded, your job is to punch. Not sitting around trying to work a jab all night. No. Work a jab just close enough to get there with that right hand, the left hook. I don't care where it lands. As long as it don't land below the belt, I don't care where it lands. George Foreman never gave a damn about where his punches land. Sonny Liston never gave a damn about where his punches land because they knew that they could punch. They knew that they could hurt you. if I land any of these punches anywhere, I'm going to hurt you just long enough to keep you still for the next 2 or 3 that's going to come, and then the fight's going to be over.
It's true. It's true, man.
You understand? You got to go out there and fight, man. Boxing is nobody's going to give you nothing in boxing. Nobody's going to give you nothing in boxing. You got to go out there and take what you need to win, to maintain the championship. Now we the ex-champion.
Yeah, you're definitely the ex-champion right now. Over here, you're definitely the ex-champion. And the thing is, yeah, people can't, in England, some people can't believe that he lost to someone like Tyson Fury, who's, most people look uncoordinated, punches his own self in the face, and the things people were saying about him.
Did you look back at the fight? Jeez, come on, man.
I was watching today. I was actually watching it about 10 minutes ago. It's just astounding, boy. It's very it's a must. Go ahead.
I don't know whether Tyson was nervous, whether he had too much energy. People said, no, he wasn't nervous. Get out of here. He was nervous. He was nervous, But he masked his fear with humor, which is a smart thing. I commend him on that. He masked his nervousness with humor, which is a wise thing to do. I'll do the same thing. Yeah. But he was nervous, and he would throw some amateurish punches that Wladimir should have counted easily. Being the professional he is, he should have easily counted those punches.
I agree.
Oh man.
I got boxing pieces about coming in, so I'll just add them in now. He's coming. Yo, Beats.
Yo.
Yeah, man. Go ahead, yeah. Mr. Bashir's here, man. I'm sure you got some questions for him, bro.
Oh, man. Give me 1 sec, man.
Right here, man.
Okay. Mr. Bashir.
Yes, sir.
So, 1 sec, my friend. How are we doing? I'm assuming there's a lot of shock and disappointment there.
Not shock, but disappointment.
Okay, not shock.
No, I'm not shocked.
Well, it's boxing, isn't it? It's a 2-man contest, so.
Yeah, I'm not shocked. I mean, Tyson's a young guy, 28 years old. He has some boxing skills, even though he didn't show much of it the other night. But he has some boxing skills, and I think he's a better fighter than what he showed the other night. And I know that Wladimir Klitschko is a better fighter than what he showed the other night. So I look forward for those guys rematching. You can't take that kind of loss and walk away. So it's like a thing with Wladimir now, where it's like catch-22. You got to roll. He's got to fight now. History won't be kind to him just walking away like that.
I guess probably.
If it was a good, tough fight, I could see Wladimir saying, what's the sense? Let me move on. But that fight left so much to be desired from both guys. Ugh, what an ugly fight.
Can I suggest he got mentally beaten in there? It felt like he got mentally beaten. That's what it felt like to me. Fury's body language was very. Fury didn't overexert himself. He didn't, really give Wladimir a beating, but he just he was walking around like it was his house.
Like I said, he did what he had to do to make himself comfortable, and that's what I was afraid of. Do not let a young guy like that find his rhythm. And the only way you stop the rhythm is to cut the ring off and fight, man. You can't sit around boxing a young guy like that there. You're going to lose 9.5 times out of 10. You're going to lose that.
Yeah, but Vladimir's never did that. He's never really initiated a beatdown. He's always kind of
No. Excuse me. If you look back prior to the Corey Sanders fight, look at those fights before them. Look at the fights before them.
All right, we're talking pre-Manny Stewart, though, right?
Yeah.
What Manny Stewart did with Klitschko hardwired certain traits and certain habits into him.
Let me tell you something. If you take a lion and teach him some trick, I guarantee you one time, if you do something to hurt him, stick a pin in him, you'll see the instinct come out of him.
Not necessarily. No. If we're talking about animals, you can't domesticate them and they never go back.
No, you can't. If you hurt somebody instinct kicks in, old habits kick in. You might be burned for many years,
Yeah.
but if you hurt somebody, that instinct will cause that old habit to come out. We are creatures of habit, man. Whatever it takes for us to defend ourselves or kill whatever it is that's attacking us, it's going to come out. I don't care how much you commercialize it, put makeup on it, it's going to come out. I know I've been a fighter. You hit me and hurt me, all that stuff they taught me in the gym, I'm going back. I need to get up out of here. I need to try to hurt something. You understand? Right now, not later, right now. So
I did suggest when we spoke last time that Fury did get
Look at the Charles Shuford fight. Look at the Charles Shuford fight. Look at the Jamil McCline fight. Look at the Ray Mercer fights. Look at those fights prior.
I don't want to be unkind, but Jamil McCline has been a career underachiever. He's probably going to do better at politics like he's doing now. Shuford was an unknown.
Wait a minute. Don't let me. I trained Jamil first. I was the first guy to train Jamil. Jamil had his pro debut with me. I trained him for 6 or 7 fights thereafter. So he came through a lot because this was a guy that didn't have a professional career. He didn't have an amateur career. Jamil McCline started boxing at 22, 23 years old.
Jamil McCline, if Jamil McCline had any type of killer instinct, he would have been world champion. He would have been world champion.
Like I said, this guy started late. This guy wasn't a boxing guy. This guy came up in the ranks without being a boxing guy. He had no background in boxing. So what he did achieve in boxing was a heck of a lot, man. He was competing with guys that had amateur careers. All right, so he wasn't equipped to be a boxer like that. He was just a big guy who tried boxing, who made a lot of money in boxing, but he didn't have a lot coming into there. To boxing, he didn't have a lot.
Wasn't it just a case though? Like this was probably one of the best boxers he faced. I just feel he faced something that he hasn't faced, and like he came up short.
You call him the type was doing up night boxing? That was
the feints. Look, the ring generalship and the because look,
even the feints was ugly. I know Tyson could do better than that, and I know Wladimir could do better than that. I was just upset with the way I wasn't upset with losing. I was just upset that it wasn't a good fight. Not where I was sitting. That wasn't no good fight. I'm old school, man. You know, I'm coming from the 50s and 60s. That wasn't a good fight. In the 70s, Larry Holmes and Tim Witherspoon was a good fight. Larry Holmes and Ken Norton was a good fight.
Yeah, they were slugfests. Like Fury played.
No, they wasn't slugfests. They was boxing mixed with slugfests.
Yeah, well, they were. Yeah, they were boxer puncher fights. Yeah, okay,
Ali was the boxers. Frazier was the slugger. But at some point, Frazier reduced Ali, and Ali somewhere in his psychic said, "Listen, that boxing shit is over. Now I got to fight." And it turned into a fight. Late in the fight, around the 9th and 10th round, it turned into a fight.
Well, the Norton and Holmes fights, like Ali just spent a lot of time on the ropes. They weren't really good. Like they're bad decisions. I love Ali.
Norton versus Holmes.
Oh, Norton and Holmes is my favorite fight. That's my favorite fight.
You understand?
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. You know. But, you know, Fury played a percentage game, didn't he? Why was he going to take any risks if his opponent, was inept? I don't want to disrespect Wladimir Klitschko, but he was inept. I saw Wladimir clinching a guy taller than him, and he was turning his head away from the action. Instead of either blocking or meeting Fury head on, he wasn't doing that. And, these are things I feel he hasn't. Look, he might have initially done it early.
Like I said, when those guys walk up those stairs to get in that ring, nobody knows what's going to take over the person. And obviously, Wladimir was possessed by whatever the other night.
Fury played his head. Tyson Fury played his head.
Something was in his head. I don't know what.
I did suggest that to you, that he did get in his head. I always felt he did. But I thought Vlad could have coped with it. But he did get in his head.
It could be that. It could be that. It could be a number of things. We don't know. I just got visions of Saad Muhammad versus Dwight Muhammad Kawi. I was with Saad leading up to those fights. I was with Saad doing all those championship fights.
Yeah, he got
Saad was a beast. Saad was a beast, but in that morning at the weigh-in, because in them days you weighed in the day of the fight, not the day before the fight.
Yeah.
That morning at the weigh-in, Saad just seemed listless. He didn't seem scared, he just seemed listless.
Once again, wasn't it just the case? Like, look, Saad took on tough, Yaki Lopez, all what he did. But the buzzsaw was just like, at that time, he was a difficult match. There's not much guys he wouldn't have ground down. So he just caught the buzzsaw at the wrong time. And I think with Fury...
No, the buzzsaw caught Saad at the right time.
Yeah.
But it was a mandatory defense he had to fight. It wasn't no way out. It wasn't no way out. It was the number one contender.
And what you have to factor in is that Saad did take a lot of punishment, which may have took something out of him by the time he got to Dwight Muhammad.
Well, people could say Wladimir Klitschko didn't take a lot of punishment, but you got to look at Wladimir Klitschko's been there for 20 years. So you multiply that down those training camps, yeah, he's taking a lot of punishment.
Oh, hell yeah.
Those training camps can take it out of you.
Oh, yeah, people don't factor that in. I've said that all along. People don't factor in the training camp.
Get up in the morning and run or skip rope or do whatever you got to do. Then you got to come in there at least 4 days out of a week and you've got the spar.
So isn't there anything you saw in the training camp leading up that made you a little apprehensive in hindsight? Nothing.
No.
Well,
like I say, I don't live with him. I don't know what was in his head. I don't know what was going on in his life. And I haven't even got close to asking him anything like that did.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask him what the hell happened. What in the hell happened? I deserve to know that much. I'm your assistant trainer. I need to know what happened out there.
Well, he's had a look. That people were questioning what happened against Lamont Brewster that time because he was doing well. Then the energy just seemed to drain out of him, and then Brewster got to him.
He got tired. That's the energy. He got tired.
But he got tired on Saturday. Like when he was supposed to punch, he was holding, and he was losing the fight.
Yeah, he was holding. I don't, like I said, I don't know. I wasn't at the steering wheel. I don't know.
I'm going to suggest, I'm going to predict something. Jonathan Banks is going to go.
What do you mean?
I think he's going to lose his job.
Well, I said to my man EJ earlier that it's a very rare case that a young man at 30 years old comes into a trainership of the heavyweight champion of the world at 30 years old. Jonathan's been a good boxer in the amateurs and the pros, but being a good boxer doesn't necessarily lead into you being a good trainer, not coming out the gate. You coming out the gate, your first person that you're going to train is the heavyweight champion of the world. You come out. So that's a great responsibility. To come into that at 30 years old is a great responsibility. You understand? Just because a guy is on the plane doesn't mean that he's capable of being a pilot.
You see, another factor is, Mr. Bashir, with being the head guy on a corner, is a respect and a certain fear factor too, right? If Teddy Atlas, when you see Teddy Atlas talking to his boxers, they sort of listen. But I don't think Banks has that. I think it seems like, I don't think there's kind of like, there's a teacher-student dynamic between them. I don't see that. Even Eddie Futch was quietly spoken, but you could hear the boxers used to listen to it.
Yeah, we was listening. I was listening. That's what Mr. Bashir was just talking about. We was talking about that.
Well, this guy is Jonathan Banks is what guy's got to be 7 or 8 years younger than Wladimir.
Right.
Yeah, he is.
Yep.
And it's hard. I mean, it's difficult, even though Wladimir, and I know he does respect Jonathan Banks. All right, it's very difficult for somebody that young to capture the imagination or the attention. You can say something, I respect him. But the proof, as my mother would say, is in the tasting of the pudding. All right? The proof is in the tasting of the pudding. You can say I'll make a good banana pie, but let me taste it. You keep telling me it's good, but let me taste it, and I can tell you for myself whether it's good.
Yeah.
So say something is one thing, but to apply what you say is another thing. And the marriage between the two is just not working. I'm a fan. You understand? I'm speaking from a fan's point of view. I'm a fan. If I'm on the outside looking in, I'm saying, well, you took over since Emmanuel Stewart left. You stepped into that role confidently. You got to understand, if this was IBM, if this was AT&T, any of these big phone companies, and an exec, any football club, when the exec puts a coach in there and that coach doesn't step up, you know what happens, right?
Yeah, they go.
Any football, any baseball, any basketball, they go.
Yeah.
And
what it is like you said, it wasn't even a good fight. He surrendered his title, literally. He literally surrendered his title.
Yeah.
And
but it may not even be Jonathan Banks' fault, for all we know, because I haven't heard the instructions in the corner.
Well, people were critical. A lot of people were saying, well, he kept telling him, because I had the volume off. A lot of people said that he was just telling him, I'll just throw the jab, and like.
Nah, he wasn't. He was telling him. He actually was telling him what to do. And Klitschko, I listened to it. And listen, okay. I watched it. He was telling him exactly what to do. And this is what I was trying to say. He wasn't responding. Vitaly was telling him the same thing, and he wasn't responding to Vitaly either. He just wasn't responding to anyone. That's why I was I asked Mr. Bashir earlier, and Mr. Bashir, did you come up and say? I think you said something, but he just wasn't responding. He didn't respond. He gave him the right instructions, but if you think about, Jonathan Banks was saying the same thing in the Jennings fight. You're just doing enough. You know what I'm saying? So maybe it's not. He wasn't stamping his foot down like Mr. Bashir.
I said to Wladimir.
Mm-hmm.
I said to him after the junior fight, I said, look, man, you guys dropped the ball out there. You and Jonathan. I said that to Wladimir.
Yeah.
You dropped the ball. Because I felt that fight should have been over in 6 or 7 rounds. You understand?
Yeah.
So somebody's got to, I mean, like I said, Jonathan may be given the right instructions, but he may not have the passion. You understand? Somebody got to step up. You can't go out there with no kid gloves. It's for the championship of the world.
Couldn't he just be getting old? How old is he now?
Oh, we can sit around here. Last 39 years old, but we can sit around here. You understand? And say boo 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 and boo boo boo. It could be 1,000 different reasons, and none of which might be Jonathan Banks' fault. You understand? We can go around here and pick straws for the next 15 minutes.
See, but regardless if it's his fault, you just said it though. You just said it. If you put a man in charge of a franchise, which Wladimir Klitschko is, and he surrenders his title, he will be the first casualty. He will be the first casualty. That's how it goes. If you got a football team, you lose the first 6 games, and you're a franchise, a big team, you're going to lose. You're going to lose that position, head coach.
And why? Why? Because he can't capture the imagination, the fire, the spirit of the team players.
Somebody was saying something that he missed. Emmanuel Stewart.
Listen, he might be telling the right thing, but he hasn't captured the spirit, the momentum.
Yeah.
He hasn't reached into their hearts and their spirit and said, "This is what got to be done at all costs. Go out there and fucking do it."
But doesn't Peter Fury get no credit for going over to Dusseldorf? And look, Tyson was composed. One thing you have to say, he wasn't stressed. Like Fury, he wasn't bothered by Wladimir Klitschko. His presence had no effect on him. You have to give Team Fury some credit for that. They have to get some credit. Lifting 3 belts.
And why not? Why not? They did a job. They came in and they won the heavyweight championship. However ugly the fight was, they planned work. And you got to give them respect and credit for that. You understand? You got to give them respect and credit for that. I'm the kind of guy, I'm going to give it to you straight, man. I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. Those guys did a great job. They deserve to win. Hats off. I don't want to come in with that shoulda, coulda, woulda stuff. They won the title. They're the champions, and God bless them for that, you know. But Wladimir Klitschko never showed up for that fight in my mind.
All right, well, let's keep it real then. What did you see in the new champ? What were the good things Tyson Fury done that offset Vlad what others couldn't do?
He was allowed, in my mind, to get into a rhythm. He was allowed to get into that rhythm, and when he got into that rhythm, he was just like a guy that had received the touchdown goal, the touchdown pass. And he was ahead of the pack, and he was running with it. I would have done the same thing. Because I would have told Wladimir in the first 2 rounds, we cannot allow this guy to get into a rhythm. We got to break this rhythm. And there's a way to do that. But I will not tell. I won't tell nobody how to break that rhythm. They have to go to school the same way I did to learn it. They won't get it on this boxing show here. Not tonight. They won't get it.
Hey, Mr. Bashir, can you tell Boxing Beast about the ring apron, the ring mat? How you guys put the ring mat in there to slow down Fury's legs? Because Beast didn't know about that.
Yeah, you do what you do to win the fight.
Right.
It was legal.
Okay.
It was legal. Tyson Fury and company just didn't go for it, but it was legal.
Did it inadvertently work against you though in the end?
No, we just fought in the regular ring. It didn't work against us. You know, Wladimir had nothing to do with it. It was a team. It was a team. We thought we had something to do with it, you know?
So the Furies weren't bull-essing on that. There really was because they said it was like a trampoline. That's what they said.
It wasn't like no trampoline. Trampoline. They lying. Who you gonna trust? Who you gonna trust? The people that's complaining about it, or the people who put it in?
and Mr. Bashir, we were talking about the hand wraps. How they made Wladimir take his hand wraps again, and we tell Beats about that again.
Much to do about nothing. We made an agreement for a special time for them to be in the locker room. Otherwise, we was gonna start rapping while the commission was there. They didn't show up at that time, and we began to rap. So we need time to warm up. We don't want to wait no 5-10 minutes after it. They got to be there when Vitaly was in their room when it was time to rap. They didn't have to wait for us. So why should we have to wait for them? Then they came in boo-hooing and bah-hawing about this stuff. I just told Lad to take the raps off because they was insinuating that something illegal was done. Take this stuff off and rap it again in front of them. Now, let's get ready to go. Yeah. We was more interested in making the fight for the fans. We wanted to go out there because everything that happened, they threatened not to fight.
Yeah, which wouldn't have been good. Like Vitaly seemed more disappointed than Vlad. You know, I think if he was younger, I think he'd be coming back. I think he'd be looking to fight Fury if he was a little younger.
He might still.
He might do.
He's not totally out of shape, you know. He's not totally out of shape.
I wouldn't advise it, though. I wouldn't advise it.
Well, George Foreman did. He came back at what, 45?
Yeah, I think Tyson Fury. I'm not saying this to compound any agony on the camp, but I think Tyson Fury is going to be a better fighter in a rematch, and in his next fight, I think he's going to be even better. That's what I believe. I think.
Well, that usually is the case.
Yeah.
That usually is the case. You know, but I'm saying, Wladimir Klitschko does not have that much of a choice. He has to walk away or he has to fight.
It hurts his legacy if he walks away like that. It hurts his legacy.
Yeah, of course. I'm telling you, he's quite aware of that. He's an intelligent human being, and he's quite aware that it may hurt his legacy. So he needs to come back and fight. He needs to have a better game plan than what he had in the Jennings fight and in the Tyson Fury fight. Bottom line is the marriage between him and Jonathan Banks has not been a good marriage. It hasn't worked on the statistics.
And then here's the other problem. Getting a new coach and blooding him in for an immediate rematch, that is risky too.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be risky if it was me. He'd have to do it close to home.
Yeah, it would have to be close to home.
It'd have to be close to home. He's used to me up in there. You understand? I could probably show him some things that nobody has shown him. Not even Emmanuel. I'm strictly old school guy. I think one of the reasons that they chose Jonathan Banks, because Jonathan Banks is a crunk product.
Yeah.
Because Jonathan Banks is going to train Wladimir Klitschko in the mold of Emmanuel Stewart, and I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah.
And Wladimir knew that. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm going to train in the way that I was taught to train. And Jonathan, in no disrespect and no discredit to him, he did what he knew how to do. You know, he did what he knew how to do. He was raised by Emmanuel, taught by Emmanuel, so he perpetuated the Crown style, and I think that's what Wladimir chose Jonathan in that venue.
Yeah, because when it was getting desperate, I see you come up on the ring apron and Banks sort of like let you get more vocal, like. But was it just too late by that time?
I didn't want to talk over Jonathan.
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not a disrespect. I let a guy go do what he got to do. You know, emotions made me do that. The one time that I walked over there was emotions, and then when I understood what I was doing, I said, "Whoa, I shouldn't do that," and I went and sat down. You know. But emotions made me do that deal, so I went over there blindly, you know.
But you know, there was no life in the corner though. Like, I don't want to blame it, but there was no life in there. Like, I remember Emmanuel Stewart. Get on, Vlad, man! Get the man out of there! He needed someone to blast him. He needed to be blasted. Fight, Vlad, fight. You know what I mean? And he didn't get that. See, when I was talking about Teddy Atlas, I wasn't talking about it from a technical aspect. I'm just talking about that, you know, what he did with Michael Moore. He drove him through, like, you know, and that stuff there. You know, I don't know. He needed something. And I'm not going to throw it all on Jonathan Banks. He did his thing. It's unfair, I suppose, for it to go wrong once.
Who said something about him? Who said something about Jonathan Banks in the corner?
I am.
But you said some other people said something about him.
Oh, yeah, lots of people said he was just giving him the same advice. That like EJ saying something different, but a lot of people in the hangout said he just kept giving stick with the double jab and and
he wasn't. Wow, listen, he wasn't. Jonathan Banks told him the right thing, but he wasn't doing what he asked him to do. He kept repeating.
What was he
I watched both versions. I watched the HBO one and I watched the English one. And the English one, you didn't really get a thing. He was telling him, you need to go in there, you're losing the fight. He was telling him. That's why Vitaly was getting upset as well.
Why was Vitaly getting upset?
Because he wasn't doing what the instructions were. That's why Vitaly came up. He goes, you need to throw more punches, man. You need to throw more punches. You need to do more what you're doing. But he wasn't overly, this is the thing about what you're saying. Like Teddy would be losing the plot, or Mr. Bashir would be losing the plot. Jonathan Banks was kind of, because he's younger, he didn't want to overstep his boundaries, so he didn't go too much, but he was emphasizing the point. But I think that's how he is, a calm guy. He doesn't really try to, you know, that's what, I don't know, man.
Heavyweight championship for the world, man. You like, remember Angelo Dundee to Sugar Ray Leonard? You're losing it, son. You're losing it.
You got to have an embodiment of things, you know. When you're making a fine broth, you've got to have a right amount of salt, sugar, pepper, you know, to give it a balance, to give it a taste that people say, I want more.
Yeah.
You can't go up there and be knowledgeable and then be like a choir boy. You can't do that. You have to get in and take over. That's why you're being paid. That's why you're the one in that corner. You know?
Yep.
I'm just, you know, maybe they didn't chose me because they made. I'm just that kind of guy. I'm just going to tell you. I'm going to tell you not in round 6 or 7. I'm going to tell you in round 1 that you jerked that round off. We need to win these next 5, 6 rounds at least.
Cause I remember when Manny Stewart used to go at Vlad. I remember Vlad got irritated once, but he knocked the guy out. I think it was Eddie Chambers. He got irritated. Yeah. But he needed that. Lennox Lewis needed it.
Yeah. Remember Emmanuel with Lennox? What he's telling Lennox in the corner.
Yeah.
When he fight Mike Tyson, he said, "Listen, I'm telling you right now, you're gonna keep on messing around. He's gonna knock your ass out." He told him with Mike Tyson, you better go out there and get rid of him, because if you let him hang around, he gonna mess around and clip you, and game gonna be over.
Yep.
And Lennox went out and knocked him out.
Yeah, you need that inspiration on the night, man.
Yeah.
It needs to be there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of stuff that goes on in the corner. There's a lot of pressure on the trainers. They got 1 minute between rounds.
Yep.
1 minute to get stuff right, to get the accurate instructions and stuff. You know, you got to be under the gun, and this is for the heavyweight championship of the world. So I can imagine what Jonathan Banks must have felt like after they announced the decision.
Yeah.
You know, I can imagine the sinking feeling inside of him, you know, when he lost the decision.
It must have been just traumatic, man. It must have been traumatic.
It never gets easier to hear the decision go the other way. It never gets easier.
No.
That's why I train the fighters I train them to knock people out.
Yeah.
I'm looking for knockouts. And I don't make it no secret. I need knockouts. That's what we're training for here. I need your undivided attention, because we're training to knock this man out. I don't want no distance. Nobody can argue with the KO. But if we do have to suffer a KO, then I want the judges to say overwhelmingly that this is not even close. That my guy absolutely won it.
Yeah. Well, in hindsight, like you say, we could come up with a whole number of scenarios and ifs and whats, but it is what it is. He got outboxed on the night. Like, I know you're going to say there was no boxing, but to me, there was boxing. There was boxing there by Tyson Fury. It wasn't classic, probably not a vintage performance, but...
Well, that's the kind of boxing. Let me know the next time that they fight like I did, I'll just stay asleep, because I can't live that kind of boxing. I'll be on Wednesday ice skating before I watch that jump again.
Oh, you found it that bad? I actually quite, you know, I don't know, but then again, I've got a little bit of it. I kind of like enjoy that
era. I come from a different era, and I want.
Yeah.
I want to see some sweet science, not ugly science. Sweet science.
DJ Boxing Live here. DJ Boxing Live here.
Buster Douglas knocked him out. Buster Douglas, the fat bump, the legend got him.
Yo, this is Chris Caban chilling with my man EJ Boxing Live, one of the hottest, dopest boxing channels on YouTube. Check him out. Some boxing beat some rounds on the EJ Live YouTube channel.
And Bashir was the number 10 rated contender, and he had never been knocked down. And Sonny destroyed his mouth. Bashir lost most of his teeth, basically with 1 or 2 left hooks.
Oh shit, boy! What was look at kids sleeping like Manny Pacquiao?
DJ Boxing Live here. DJ Boxing Live here.